Today's video is going to be changing the valve seals on the 240. You can see all this like soot, whatever it is, oil particles, and how it's all black right there. Every time I start the car, run the car, and then like stomp on it, I'm just blowing smoke behind the tailpipe, out of the tailpipe. And this is like the last thing I got to do that pretty much like seals up this whole engine. I already did the front main seal, did the oil pan when I did my head gasket, did the rear main seal. So I'm not leaking anything at all. But I'm still losing a quart of oil if I drive this for a week straight. So I knew it was the valve seals, and I'm going to try to put this picture up of when I did my head gasket. And that's showing when I did it, the cylinders were just kind of like full of oil. So I just figured that the valve seals were bad. And yeah, have all my stuff. I'm gonna do the rope method. Just shove it in the cylinder through the spark plug hole, compress it. That'll hold the valve in. Gonna take the valve cover off. Like I said, it's already did the bolts. Show us our cams. Now, at this point, down here, I have my 27 mil socket with a half inch ratchet. I'm going to be watching for these intake cams to come down. And that's showing that it's on its intake stroke. Our intake. So now I know that this piston's coming back up to compress the air. So more or less, we're at bottom dead center. Right here I got my rope. So we're going to be putting this rope all the way in the cylinder. Now, with my rope in, I'm going to compress, which is on the upstroke of that piston, and it's gonna physically stop because all the rope that I just put in. So now, if all's good, that whole cylinder for this first one is full. I'm gonna pull up this timing sprocket, this camshaft sprocket. I'm gonna pull it off to the side, take off these rails that are holding the brackets that hold the camshaft in, so it takes all the tension off of the springs all around, because since the camshaft's in place and these are on, all these the 4 cylinders are at different stages of the cycles. Now once I take these off, I'm gonna put the two or three of the brackets that hold the camshaft back in, put this sprocket back on, and now since the rocker arms aren't going to be on there, no tension is going to be on any of the springs, but I'll be able to keep this in time with the crankshaft. You don't have to do that. That's just the way I did it. I'm going to do it so I can just keep rotating as I'm going through the cylinders, or going through all 4, doing all of them. So yeah, I'm going to take off this sprocket real quick. Make sure you don't drop it. I'm going to put some zip ties to keep these in line. Keep upwards tension on it. You could probably kind of leave it as is right now. Oh, don't drop that washer. Got the bolt out. Now pull it off camshaft. And now I got the bungee cord holding this. Now we're able to take off the rocker arms. Alright, they say to loosen them up in stages. From outside to in. So you don't warp the bearings. Now what I'm doing is I'm gonna only put 2 bolts back that hold this crankshaft in. I don't have enough, or I don't have big enough washers to fill in the gap from the rocker arm rods or whatever they're called. That I needed to use nuts to fill in the space. And all this is doing is just going to be holding the camshaft in, so when I put this sprocket back on, it'll hold the camshaft in place, and then I can spin the engine for each of the cylinders. So I'm not going to put a lot of torque on it because I don't want to warp anything. Now the camshaft is held in place. Now I'm able to put this sprocket back on. Alright, now that sprocket's on, camshaft's held in, I can work on this first cylinder. Got this fancy little spring compressor tool. We'll try it out, see how it goes. See if she does a good job. Got the other. Spring comes out. It's a double spring actually. This little inner piece. Got my new valve seal. Put it right over there. Put this right here, a little tool. She's bottomed out. I'm gonna get a better position to where I'm lower. This way, like you saw me how I had to push down to get the keepers out. I'm gonna readjust this so I can, or when it's compressed, it'll be below this area where the keepers are. I'm gonna put this valve spring back on. So now you can see I have more gap than before. Here's a second one. Alright, now I'm kind of keeping tension on it so the keepers stay in place. I'm pulling up on it, let it go the tension on the spring, and that'll seat itself. There you go. And there you go. And that's one valve seal done. Valve seal done. I got to do the intake side. There you go. Very unorthodox, but whatever works, right? we have access to both and take the seals. Grab this bad boy. This one. And this is the second one. Alright, got the new ones. Slide them right over. Get them in place more or less where they're going to sit. And give them a push, a snug. All right. So here's the 2 springs, a top hat. What's pretty stupid about this is, if you look at the springs, they're different angles, as in one's cut, we'll say clockwise, and one's cut counterclockwise. So I can't like spin one of the springs to line it up to get in between both. And what I'm trying to do is, when it's in the car, you can see how it's kind of since the threads are set up different, trying to get into the area of both where you'll have the inner and the outer, or I'm sorry, the little legs in between both. That's the hardest part between these smaller ones. It was easier on the exhaust valves, but trying to do this on the intake valves, it's a lot harder. And now that you got a ticking time bomb in your hand, gonna lightly put it over. Got the new seal in. Compress the spring with the top hat and everything. Put the keepers in, and now I'm just untensioning the spring. First cylinder is done. Do the same thing for the rest of them. Take the tension off of the piston, so I'm gonna bring it down a little bit. And I'm just gonna pull this rope all the way back out. Gonna do the same thing for the rest of them. All you gotta do is stick the rope in, compress it. You're able to do the valve seals and repeat. I'm probably gonna do a picture time lapse, not a video time lapse, because it takes a while. And at least you'll be able to see it, but I won't be wasting a lot of memory on the cards. Alright, so since I took the camshaft off and rotated the thing or whatever, got out of alignment or out of timing, was when I was at top dead center with the first number 1 piston. It was like on some weird stroke on the camshaft, so I just had to reset it, top dead center, put the sprocket on, rotate the camshaft until that pin was aligned with this arrow. Now she's good. Now I just gotta put everything back in and I'll start it up. I'm not gonna show you all this putting everything back on. It's self-explanatory. Valve cover, new spark plugs, spark plug wires again, and fan.